dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world in 7 seas. Everybody's looking for something. Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world in 7 seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to lose you. Some of them want you to die. Some of them want you to lose you. Some of them want to love you.
Look at that. October 26th, the Supernatural Soiree right there in Camden, New Jersey on the Battleship, New Jersey, right?
I forgot. Yeah.
I
you're
didn't forget. I was trying to articulate those words all together.
right.
It is every other Thursday. It's that Thursday, folks, at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So that means you're right here with Ask Stacey stuff. Hey, Stacey,
Hey, Sarah.
how are you?
I'm doing good. You and Rob are looking fit.
What?
We're looking fit. I kind of love that, especially since I just downed the biggest Rice Krispie treat. So I'll take it.
I had like 4 hamburgers today. So
There
maybe
you
a long
go.
weekend.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot of running around. We're very busy this weekend with the Pennhurst Paracon, but we couldn't miss tonight's show because honestly I was so excited, Stacey, when you sent me the list of what everybody needed for their honey jar. And again, can you give us a little description about what a honey jar exactly is again?
Well, what we're doing is actually a money jar.
Okay.
There's a difference between honey jar and money jar.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the honey is the love one, right?
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
about sweetening relationships.
Right.
Money
You're
jar
right,
is
Sarah, because
about
we
bringing
need money, not honey.
Okay.
Shit ain't funny.
Stop with your rhyme. He thinks he's Eminem tonight, folks. So he's bringing in the Detroit. He's bringing in the Detroit. So this was the money jar. So my mistake. I had been passing it off as the honey jar.
You have.
Yeah. Well, it's just fine. I mean, technically, they're both honey jars. It's just this one has more of a focus towards money. Honey is, sweetening relationships on a lot of different levels, depending on what you're trying to do. Even in so much as bring in new clients, which technically could be money jar, but you're actually dealing with people. So that's pretty much the difference.
I'm making people.
I love that. Well, we've got all sorts of people, I hope, ready to go and learn about the money jar. We have Danny and Dee Dee, and Jenny is coming in from Ohio, I believe, with Lisa Contran and with Denise Empey, 2 amazing women that she's hanging out with right now. We've got Kaylee and Courtney and Big Daddy Andy, and we got Sam and Candy and Cindy. I mean, there's just, I think this was, and we know Adam's going to be here because I think he also voted on. Hey, Damien, good morning, my friend.
Damien sent me an email and I have to respond to it.
I love that. D Hoot is here. So this is, and Carmen is here. I hope Carmen is feeling better. So this is interesting because we spend so much time talking about sort of the other side of the rituals. I feel like, Stacey, right? Like how we can protect ourselves from that. But we should be using our energy to the good intentions that we want to put out there with these rituals. And this is one way to do it.
Right. Well, you're manifesting things to enter your life. The difference between how people typically manifest is they visualize what it is that they want, and they, like attracts like, that kind of thing. This is actually using elements that are in nature as code, or like you would in an app on your phone, has specific code that will go out and get that and talk to the universe on its level, on its understanding of things. And you just imprint a little bit of what you want over the top of it, kind of like a hacker. Hackers do that all the time. They're always pirating other people's code, and they throw a little their something with it, and then they've got a new app. That's essentially what we're doing with conjuring, is we're taking things that are already in nature, putting that into a language the universe understands, and then putting our intent on top of it. Allows the universe to actually communicate with us.
Leo wants to know. He's saying, what exactly was on this list? What exactly was on? Because normally Stacey's lists, like Stacey will be like, hey, you should try XYZ. Here's the list. And it'll be like impossible things to find.
A pig, like a pig specifically born in Russia.
Yes.
With, yeah.
No, we're going to be dealing with the spirit, Santeria spirit known as Oshun. She has a very specific list of things that are her items. They are key to her. Things like pumpkin seeds, because pumpkin is her sacred object. Sunflower seeds, because honeybees love sunflowers, and she's all about the honeybees.
Plus, they're yellow. She likes yellow.
They're yellow. So, there's sunflower seeds involved. Things that are typically used in sweet things that we would eat are essentially hers. She owns it. Sugary things like mint, rosemary. These are her elements that we know are used whenever you're dealing with this particular spirit. Now, one thing that is not typically hers is cinnamon. And the reason that's thrown in there on that list is because it's actually not a cool or a sweet, it's a hot. It's considered a spice. Even though most people look at cinnamon as though it's something you put on donuts, it is actually a spice that is a hot spice. And honey, by its nature, moves really, really slow. So anything you use in, say, a honey jar, it is a slow-moving conjure. It can take months, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months before the stuff actually starts to manifest, because it's a slow-moving thing. But it's a consistent thing. It's not winning the Powerball. It is, today you got $2, tomorrow you're getting $4, after that you're getting $6. It's a snowball effect because it's a slow-moving thing. It builds. So you're able to actually, feel the prosperity as it grows, that luck. And the cinnamon kind of puts a fire under it to make it move faster. So that's the only thing that's outside the norm, and it's like I said, it's only done to kind of like put some fire under it, because it is a slow mover.
Well, I want everybody to know, if you didn't see the list, I did include the list in the show description. So you can always refer back to that if you're going to sort of watch and understand and learn from Stacey tonight. And he's done a cool video. We're going to play a little bit of it, and then we'll stop and we'll see if you have questions. And if you have questions, put them up. I'll be watching your questions. We can pause the video. You can ask Stacey right here during this class.
It's in the video too. I put it in the beginning of the video. It's only in the first few minutes. The list is in there. So anybody who wants to refer back to it, they can watch it. They don't have to try and find the list that you posted on Facebook somewhere. It's actually in the video.
Okay.
It's in there.
And they can find it in the show description, Stacey. have to just go look for my post, but it's everywhere. You guys are gonna be able to have this list readily available to you. And I know there were already some questions about because one thing that you had in there were some copper coins, and that question came up. Hey, Todd, do they need to be 100% copper?
No, some copper is good. The pennies are typically accepted no matter what, even though they're like mostly zinc. They're just copper plated now.
Okay.
If you have them, you don't even have to use domestic. There's a lot of good copper coins that are like Canadian and all these foreign coins that are useless in the United States. People just have them in junk drawers. You can use those just as well because, they're copper.
Yeah. Hi, Sierra. All right. So there was that. And then as far as the thread, it could be thin ribbon. It was more about color, some sort of a tying agent, I would assume.
Right. Well, you'll see. It's actually used to wrap one of the paper that we use.
Okay.
And tie it off and bundle it. If you've got a ribbon that's either green or gold, that's perfect.
Okay. Perfect. So should we start? Should we just get started on this video? This is the first, and welcome to Do It with Stacey, the money jar.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sounds rather sexy for the first time. So it kind of does.
Give me the money, man.
Hey, Kristen. So guys on the side, if you're coming in a little bit late, know that we see you and we are acknowledging you, but we're going to watch some of Stacey's videos. And like I said, if you have a question, get right on there and ask them, and we will star them, and we will pause videos, and we will try to get to those, because this is our first hands-on class with Professor T, and we want to do this right. So shall we start, Rob?
Yeah, do you want me to
Let's do it. We're doing it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, Stacey.
Let's do it. Let me find it first. Oh, here it is. Yeah, it's fun looking for things. Here we go. Now, how am I going to know when you want me to pause?
Can you just watch me? I'll do like something like this.
If it goes full screen, how's he going to do that?
Hello.
He can see me down here.
Hello, Harry Potter here. Welcome the Get Haunted class on creating a magical working called the Money Jar. My good friend and fellow magical practitioner, Professor T, will walk you through the steps to opening the door to financial prosperity. Now, without further ado, please welcome Stacey.
Hello, Stacey here. I know that intro there probably gave Sarah a little bit of a butt pucker, but it was actually more for Danny's benefit than anything. Anyway, what we're going to be doing is a money jar. Now, the difference between a money jar and a honey jar is very slight. The difference is a money jar is more focused on the finances, more focused on money, as opposed to a honey jar, which essentially just sweetens up whatever situation you're trying to create. So a honey jar wants to create a better job environment with a coworker that you're having a problem with. You want to have a baby. You want more fertility on that front. A honey jar is the way to go. You want to improve your overall situation as far as relationships. You want to find a boyfriend. You want to find a girlfriend. You want to bring that relationship to the next level. You want a marriage proposal. You're thinking about a marriage proposal. These things sweeten the situation where a regular money jar, again, just looks at the finances. Now, we're going to do a little extra something with this that is more in line with Santeria. Rather than hoodoo and conjure, which is very general, very, talking to the universe kind of thing. We're going to be addressing a specific spirit or deity, Oshun. Now, Oshun is very complex, very powerful, and she is essentially the reason why we go on living. She brings all of the wonderful things into your life. Now, to explain the nature of Oshun, I've incorporated the help of Morgan Freeman.
Thank you, Stacey. I'll try to keep this brief for the Get Haunted side pieces. Deep in the heart of every religion, whispers of the divine echo through the ages. In the vibrant tapestry of Santeria, one name resonates with a power both alluring and fierce, Oshun. They call her the river goddess. Her domain stretches beyond the cool embrace of freshwater. She embodies love, a love that burns bright and passionate, yet flows with the gentle grace of a running stream. This goddess's beauty, a beauty that intoxicates the senses, a reflection shimmering in a mirror, a hibiscus blossom in full bloom. But beneath the surface lies a captivating allure. She is fertility, the giver of life, the promise of new beginnings cradled in a woman's womb. Yet, she is more than just the caress of love or the promise of life. She holds the key to destiny, whispering secrets on the breeze, hidden within the murmur of a seashell. Her aspects aren't limited to love, beauty, and fertility. She's the bringer of marriage, money, and abundance. Basically, all things that make life worth living. Her number is 5. Found in the human form from within the womb of the hands, the feet, and the head. Her sacred objects are the mirror, the symbol of truth. The pumpkin, for which she keeps her money. And honey, the nectar of love that conquered the god of war. Her colors are white, yellow, and gold, each representing the 3 stages of womanhood: the maiden, mother, and crone. Her metals are copper and gold. Her favorite foods are sicky sweet pastries, and her favorite fruit is the orange. So next time you stand beside a flowing river, remember the goddess, the spirit who reminds us that love, beauty, and destiny are all woven from the same shimmering thread, a thread as powerful and ever-changing as the lifeblood of the earth itself.
Okay, now that we've moved on to the demonstration portion of this video, we have all of our supplies. This is all that we need. We have the mason jar, which it doesn't have to actually be this full-size jar. You could get the smaller ones that they have that are about this big because, well, we're not going to use this whole thing. We're just going to use like the bottom portion here. You have your honey, the main ingredient. You have cinnamon, which adds heat. Cloves, which are the full clove, even though that you can get the ground version and just add a little pinch. In this case, we're using also sunflower seeds instead of pumpkin seeds. Either one, unsalted. If they are salted, buy them at a gas station in the snack section next to the jerky. All you just do is rinse them, taste it, make sure they're not salty anymore, and you're good to go. Green thread, or in this case, floss for macrame. Mint, which in this case is just mint tea, but it's just mint. And rosemary from the hydroponics garden. Brown piece of paper. It was from a sandwich bag that you're just going to be writing your name and what you wish for things to be. Now, starting off, these don't have to be in any particular order except for the honey. Your 5 seeds, they go inside the paper. So we're going to put in the rosemary first. If you're adventurous and you really want to grind it up, you can actually use a mortar and pestle to grind your stuff up, but that's really not necessary.
Add some cinnamon. You don't want to add a whole lot because this is heat. You want sweetness for the most part. Cloves. And you don't have to add very much to that either. Everything in hoodoo is what you do for a pinch, you do for a pound. So not much is needed on that front. We need to get a tea candle, which I thought I had sitting here, but I don't, so I have to go get that. Anyway, add your mint tea, and on the brown piece of paper, you write your name 5 times across the thing, across the page, and then turn it 90 degrees and write what you want 5 times.
All right. So just so everybody knows, I had to cut this video in half. The first one Stacey sent me was like 200 gigabytes. So I was trying to re-render it. Then he sent a smaller version of this. So I just cut it because this was maybe 5 minutes before the show that we were able to get it cut in half, re-rendered and uploaded. But I think my cut was pretty close. So before we get to the existing questions, they wrote their name 5 times. You write your names 5 times.
5
and
times.
then you turn it 90 degrees.
Yes.
And write what you want.
Yes. And I get into the details on that in the next cut.
Okay.
All right. Why you do that sort of thing. But that's what you do.
So I'll just say people seem to be really, and I am too. We're all sitting, Sarah and I sitting backstage smiling because this is so fun to watch, and comments on the side. So I think people are really digging your videos. So let's get to the questions that Sarah marked.
Yeah, and I actually have 2 questions before we get started. They're actual questions. One is that your like conjure station. Is that where you do all your magic?
Yeah, I put a card table back there, but that's where my Nganga sits. It's the haunted section of my house.
Ooh, and you're very. Are we supposed to be as angry throwing our stuff in as you are, or?
No, it's not angry. I'm just dropping it in there because it's, this isn't the point where delicacy is actually required. It's, the mixing bowl where you're just throwing stuff in the mixing bowl at this point.
Okay. So there's no, so when we see people dancing around and doing all sorts, not necessary.
No, not here. This is just, we're creating the jar. It's basically a message in a bottle that we're using for the universe, and it's going to sit, when it's done, for a period of days, and then we take it to the river, and that's when, the real finesse comes in.
Got it.
Well, I would just like to add that although this is a money jar and not a honey jar, Morgan Freeman had me feeling a little like it might be a honey jar. You know what I'm saying?
That was very interesting to learn that about Oshun, and to have it broken down like that. I truly appreciated that piece of the video. It's exciting to see all this sort of come together, and people have their supplies.
Right. And it's, it's also a little glimpse into, you're peeling back one of the layers of Stacey, right? I've talked about Oshun with Stacey in the past, which got me looking at it. Anyway, yeah, it's cool, right?
It's super cool. Yeah, it's very cool. So now these are where the questions come in. It was such a great introduction, I think, that piece of the video.
Mm-hmm.
So Sierra is asking this question, which, we think sometimes until we start to gather this stuff, like, does it need to be hyper specific on these things?
It needs to be real honey. Raw honey, you can do that if you want to. It's more expensive, but you don't have to do raw honey. We're not looking for the enzymes inside the honey. We're just looking for the real thing. The stuff that comes in the plastic bear that you get at Walmart, that's corn syrup. They flavored the corn syrup to taste like honey.
What?
You don't want that.
My
So the
mother.
bear is not honey?
Calling my mother.
Are you
Because
sure?
the ingredients on the side should say honey. Read the ingredients. It is not honey.
Stacey,
That little bear lied this whole time.
That little
I bought
fucker.
him because he's adorable.
Right. Stacey, you're calling my mother after this show.
That's right. We're in big trouble, mister. Dee Dee's asking, you can use mint or cloves. Is it both or one?
One or the other. I mean, cloves is the substitute for mint.
Okay.
You don't have mint, but I threw them both in because, well, I had both. You don't have to use both. It's one or the other. You know, if you've got mint, you don't need cloves, and vice versa.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah, I just want to also make a disclaimer that we can neither confirm nor deny Stacey's comments, who is independent of Get Haunted, Paranormally Blonde, and the Get Haunted Network, about the bear.
That's right. We will not be going down for that one. Dee
I
was
will
asking,
not take that fall.
and I know a lot of people do a lot of their ritual work around the moon phases in general, even if it's just for their own sort of vibing out with. But do moon phases figure into this at all?
Not really.
No.
I mean, technically speaking, Oshun is an aspect of the Babylonian goddess of Inanna, which is the moon. But Inanna was also synchronized with Lilith in Jewish mythology. So they're two totally different personalities on that level. So the moon really, isn't a thing. It would more, if you were going to do something with, say, Yemaya, who's the ocean or the Lady of the Lake, that would be more of a moon phase kind of thing because the tides. But since she's the river, you don't have anything that does nothing.
Okay.
And I just posted a quick Google search. Stacey is absolutely right. Unfortunately, the cute little honey bear that we grew up knowing comes at the cost of fraud and adulteration. While there might be some traces of real honey in those bear-shaped bottles as a base, it is likely diluted with high fructose corn syrup, as you people call it, along with other sugars and fillers. So, much like the rest of my life, it's all been a lie. Well, you gonna tell me Santa isn't real next? I mean,
well, we're not going there tonight.
All right,
we won't go there tonight. So when we're writing our names 5 times and we're writing what we want, that is indeed putting your intention onto the brown paper.
Correct.
Okay.
And I get into it here, but this is the only point where you ask for what you want directly. And even that, I mean, most people, when they do money jar, they want money. Well, money is just a tool. You have money to do other things. What you want is the other things, not the money. So if you need, say, a car, you write what you want, the car that you want. If it's a house, you do that. I mean, even specifically where you want to live, a house in Miami or a house in Detroit or whatever. You put that in there, specific of what you want. And this is the only place where you directly ask for that, because I get into it later, but you never ask Oshun directly for what you want. And I show that why in the video. But on this paper is the only time you will actually ask what you want, and you have to be specific on that front.
Okay. Okay. Agave, good, acceptable? No. That's not a replacement for honey, agave. That's a replacement for sugar, right?
Yeah. No, you want honey. Oshun, honey is her thing. That's her sacred.
Do they not have honey in Texas? Come on, D-Hoot.
They have honey. Absolutely, they do. But maybe that's just something she doesn't have.
She will get it.
Yeah.
All natural honey. It's more expensive, but you don't have to go to the raw honey route, because that's obnoxiously expensive.
Yeah.
And you're not getting anything more out of it other than losing money. So
everybody's freaking out about the honey bear. You've really wrecked their night with this.
You ruined everybody's night.
Yeah. Okay. So
congratulations with your little hoodoo.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the truth has come out.
You people don't. They wonder why their honey jar doesn't work, and they're using shit as honey. So
Don't use shit as honey, folks. Just don't do it.
How about MSG? Are we allowed to use MSG? Because certain things we're
there's
not
no
allowed to
MSG
use.
in this. It's all natural stuff.
All natural. All natural. All right. So are we ready to move on to this next
Yeah.
bit of video?
I just want to say they call me the all natural filler too. All right, here we go. Part 2. Just like 6-7 minutes. Stacey, I saw those eyes. Here we go.
Times across your name. Now, what you want is a very delicate kind of thing, because what most people want in a money jar is they want money. Well, money is just a tool. What do you want to use the money for? You need to buy a car. Do you need to buy a house? Do you need to, you know, pay your bills? What is it that you need the money for? That is what you write. You don't just say, I want money. You write car, or a very specific car, like a minivan or an SUV or a Corvette. You write that 5 times. And this is the only time in this particular kind of conjuring that you will specifically ask for something. When dealing with Oshun, you never actually ask directly. You ask reflectively, because her big thing is the mirror. Or its her sacred object is the mirror. And she is the reflection. So you want to reflect. And with dealing with Oshun, you want to show appreciation for the things that you already have. So in this kind of, when you're writing it down, this is the only time you will directly ask for what you want. But when the time comes and we go to the river, we're not going to do that. We're going to reflect about all the wonderful things that you already have in appreciation. You're reflecting back, because what is going to take place is Oshun is going to give you more of what you appreciate of. So if you really appreciate the car that you have, you can get an upgrade, because she's going to give you more. Same way with your home. Say you really appreciate and love your home, and it's a wonderful thing. You really love the fact that you have this home. Well, she's going to bless upon you more of that through reflection, not direct ask. For the longest time, I assumed that Oshun was a bit of a miser and would never actually give up money or fortunes if directly asked, much like a miser would hoard their money. But that's not it at all. It's more of a grandmotherly love that will give you $12 in a birthday card. You show how much you appreciate the $12 gift, calling her, saying it's wonderful, thank you so much. And then the next time she gives you $40 in a birthday gift, because she knew how much you appreciated it the last time. That's pretty much what it's like. But when you do this and you write your name 5 times and what you want directly crossing it, you take your 5 seeds, put it in the paper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fold it again, and fold it again, and fold it again. And then start folding the sides so that the seeds do not fall out. So it's all packaged like this. Then you take your thread, which need old man glasses to see. And you wrap this up tight. Wrap it up. Tie it off. Aye. All right. Once you have it in there, put that in the jar and pour copious amounts of honey over the top. Now, like I said, you want to use real honey, preferably from a farm, as opposed to the, I have local here, as opposed to the bare bottle that is mostly corn syrup. Okay. That's the name of the local farm. And put your lid. Then you take your tea candle, put it on top, light it, and let it burn out. Once it's burned out, after the designated amount of days, you go to the river. And we'll do that when that time arrives.
5 magical days later.
Now that we're out at the river, one of the first things you need to do, open the jar and taste the honey. Zesty. Now, the reason you do that is because Oshun was once poisoned by her own honey. So she won't accept it until someone's tasted it, just like royalty has food tasters. Next, you talk into it, embedding your words and your wishes and your gratitude straight into the honey. After you've done that, you take your 5 coins, 5 pennies, drop it in. Now, if you're petrified of St. Greta, just go over to the river and pour it out. If you have no fear of St. Greta, take the whole jar with the lid off and throw it in. Once you are getting what you want, you've gotten your car, your house, whatever it is that you actually desire, come back to the river with 5 oranges, wash yourself, cleanse yourself with the oranges, and throw them in. That's pretty much it. I want to thank you for doing it with Stacey. Was it good for you too?
God, you're just so much fun, Stace. Okay, so this is really interesting.
Yeah, before I forget my question, because I'm going to forget it.
Yeah.
Stace, when you go back with the oranges, it has to be the same spot? Do you go to the same spot?
Well, as they say, there's the river, there's changes all the time, so you're never at the same spot. But you want to be on the same river.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, like if I'm 50 yards away, it's not gonna.
Oh yeah, no.
Big deal.
Not
And
general area.
Stacey, it was good.
Basically, you're closing it out, saying thank you for doing what it is that I wanted. If you forget to do that last part, the next time you try and do a honey jar, you'll be completely ignored, and it won't.
Okay. And who was filming? That was my next question.
That's my drone.
Oh. It was windy. That's why. Okay.
Yeah, it's a pocket. It was way windy today, right there, because that's at the mouth of where the river actually meets Lake Pontchartrain, the biggest lake in Louisiana, and over my shoulder you could see both the river and the lake at the same time. So
okay.
Oh, very nice. I feel like Damien had this question when we talked about this on your last show. So, and I think it really is a good question because, I think that personal gain aspect is where I think there's a fine line just in general, right? How much we give to others, and we can't forget about ourselves. So how do you address this personal or this question?
Well,
about
a lot of it
personal-
is baked into the cake when you do this, because you're not directly asking Oshun for anything. You're just saying thank you for all the wonderful things that I have, and she's bestowing those blessings on you. So you're not actually doing it for personal gain. You're doing it to show an appreciation for the bounty in which your life already exists. And the universe is replying with, we'll give you more.
Yeah. I've used this tactic with people before.
Yeah, it's almost child psychology.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a tactic. It's just a nice way how to live. And how long? So you kind of, and Dhoot, I don't know if that kind of answered your question. So this concoction really only lasts for 5 days before you throw it into the river. So I don't know if she's asking how long is it good for? How long is you do a money jar, you do a honey jar? Is it good for as long as it takes, or
it's a slow moving thing, and when the end result has been achieved, you have to recognize that, and not get greedy, essentially. And then that's when you go with the oranges and say thank you, and take it back to the river. That way you can reset it and do another one to essentially restart the process over again. But if you forget to do it, that second one won't work. So
Right. So you have to pour it out. You don't just chuck the whole thing in.
Either one. That's why at the end you put the pennies in at the end, like what I did, instead of back at the table, because you could have done it then too. The problem is, if you're going to pour it, the pennies won't come out of the jar. They'll stick to the bottom, and you won't be able to get them out. So if you are going to pour it, you throw them in last, because it takes them so long to sink to the bottom.
Right.
And just they'll come out with all the rest of it.
Okay.
That's the only reason it's at the end the way that it is, depending on how you're going to do it. I typically am a completely, asshole when it comes to the environment, and I chuck the whole thing in, because a lot of times it just, is gone forever.
You wonder how many of those jars, honey and money jars, are just floating around those rivers. They're just everybody throwing them in.
Louisiana, they're in the walls of your house. People do, put things. They have witch bottles and different things like that. You'll come in and do a remodel, and you'll have all kinds of weird ass shit in the walls, because people just over and over and over again keep putting things in their homes or in their yards or all over the place. This hoodoo thing is not new. It's been going on for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And there are jars to prove it.
I love that. And I love this question too, because we ask you all this stuff, Stacey, and I would assume as a practitioner, as a priest, as a spiritual warfare specialist, you teach this because this is something that is tried and true for you, I would assume.
Oh yeah. I don't teach you anything I haven't done. None of this is theory. It is all been in practice. So.
And do you find that you have received what you intended to receive?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've done my own little side experiments to see if I could win the Powerball. It doesn't work. But as far as general prosperity is concerned, yeah, you'll just come across, you'll be walking down the sidewalk, and all of a sudden there's a $20 bill on the floor, on the ground. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, hey, thank you. And these things just start happening. Pennies from heaven, so to speak. But you have to appreciate it and give thanks for recognizing this is what this is. It's blessing.
I have a question. When did you film that video?
A few days ago, but the last part at the river I did this morning.
Okay.
Why?
Just asking.
Oh, okay. Here's Aaron's question. What is the potential consequence for failing one or multiple pieces of this in some fashion? So that is interesting. So I guess it's kind of what you've already answered. If you've done something the incorrect way, it's not going to work.
Exactly. It's going to be rejected. Okay. There's an intelligence here that we're dealing with. Mm-hmm. Whether you want to call it a spirit, a goddess, whatever, it's an actual intelligence. And it will respond based off of, you know, the information or the ingredients that are used. Like I said, if you use corn syrup instead of honey, it's going to be rejected. If you don't taste it before you know, put it in the river, it's going to be rejected. You know, all of these steps were put into place not by me, but by Santeros who've been doing it for literally thousands of years. These are the steps that need to take place.
Okay. And can you immerse your whole self? Is that important? I think that's what he's saying. Can you enter the river and wash it out? Like, is that
if you can, you know, in some parts of the country that's incredibly dangerous. You know, many people have died trying to wade through the Mississippi River. You know, the river that I was in front of, the same kind of effect. At that particular spot where the river meets the lake, there's a lot of turbulence and undertow. And you go out and do that, you can be sucked out and no one will find you.
Yeah, so you and your money jar are going to be gone. So this is kind of following up. I think what Aaron was trying to say here, as he's saying, is there a backlash at all, or is it just that it just doesn't work?
It just doesn't work.
It just doesn't work.
The backlash, if you want to call it that, would be forgetting to do the oranges after it actually is fulfilled. Because the backlash would be you will be ignored from that point forward.
Now, when you said wash yourself with these oranges.
Right. You take the oranges, you hold them in your hand, and you basically touch and rub your chakras like I have you do with the flower water.
Okay.
But you do it with oranges instead, you know, all down your back and on your chakra points in the front, and, you know, say thank you and throw them in.
Okay. And one at a time? Could you do at a time? It doesn't matter.
All at once is probably the best. But if you've got teeny tiny little hands, the oranges are really big, do them, you know, as many as you can hold.
So do you
that route.
Dude's next question, I do find that interesting as well. Before mason jars, what do you think? I mean, there's always some form of a jar, whether pottery or something. So
bottles, jars were, you know, even clay jars were used. Now, back in the day when they were using the clay jars, they would actually, you know, the honey and like what I showed you goes into it, but then they would like slather over the top of it all this honey, and they'd light candles, and they'd slather, you know, the honey down the candle because it had these long tapered candles, and they'd use those, and it's like, that's, you don't need to do that, and it creates a really big mess. So you'll even see on the internet some people pouring honey on the outside of the jar as the candle is burning. Really
so wait, so I guess I did miss that, Rob. Did you catch that? So after you put all the stuff into this money jar, you put the tea light on top. Is that how that went? Okay, you put in, let it.
If you're concerned it's gonna move, like you have a cat in the house, it's gonna knock the candle off. You can put a little dab of honey on the top, and then the candle will stick to the honey drop, and it'll stay there.
Okay, awesome. Yes, that is. Is there a way to fix it after you fail to go back with oranges? Can you, like, if you're like, holy shit, it's been 5 days, it's been a crazy week at work, and I totally forgot. Can you somehow ask for forgiveness to Oshun and be like, I am so sorry, it's been 7 days, and here are your oranges?
Yeah, you can. Unfortunately, the only way you can, she will get very specific on what she wants, and the only way to determine that is to actually get a Santero to give you a reading. So that becomes a little bit more of an issue at that point.
Yeah, she won't talk to you for like 3 hours, ignore your texts. It'll be a whole thing. You're like, I'm sorry.
It's such a woman. Right. She's such a woman. You don't need to slice those oranges, right? It's the whole orange. The whole orange.
Just like you get them in the store, right? Just like that. Take the stickers off of them. She doesn't like the stickers. But,
she picky. Oshun's a picky girl. Has anybody ever tasted their honey and it was poison?
I have no idea. But that's, you know, the thing that they tell you is it's part of what they call patakis. It's living mythology, stories of how this particular deity works and thinks, and they tell it through the stories of, you know, her trials in this situation and her trials in that situation, and it's all poetry, but it gives you an idea of the personality and how to respond when you're creating these kinds of things.
This is kind of, what if somebody couldn't handle any of these? Does she discriminate against who can do a money jar?
Can you use gloves? You can use gloves, right?
Yeah, you can use gloves. I mean,
gloves, a little respirator.
Oh, but I guess he's saying you can't taste it though. What if you can't taste it, Stacey?
Yeah. Well, you can get somebody in the house to taste it for you. It just has to be.
Yeah.
Somebody has to taste it. It can't be, you know, straight from the jar.
It's just another thing to blame your parents for.
That's right. You're like, I can't even taste this
honey. Now I can't taste it.
That's right. That's right. What about, what if there isn't a river close by? What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's kind of tough because
can it be a creek? Does it have to be like a raging friggin' river?
No. It can be, you know, as long as there's rapidly moving water through it.
Okay,
it's fine.
Flowing water.
A sewer line.
Sewer?
Not really that, but rivers, depending on where you live, have a wide variety of interpretations. Down here, a lot of what I would call a river living in Illinois was actually a creek. They have canals and creeks. Rivers are these massive bodies of water that are moving in one direction.
Right.
In Illinois, they're not like that. I mean, you can jump across a river in Illinois.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
that sound right. All right, Aaron is.
Aaron's chatty tonight. He's like, "Hey guys, I've missed you." Well, I find this whole thing, and I will be going back and watching this. Well, I was not prepared to do the actual money jar this evening because, one, I think to do it during the show is a little hard to do with wanting to really set your intentions and be focused. And, you know, we have such a big show going on this weekend. That's sort of where my head is. But I think this whole thing is so interesting. Is there any other little tips that you could say, like, I don't know. I mean, does it help to burn incense while you do this? Does anybody put their own spin on this? Or does Oshun be like, I want it to be this simple?
No, you can do all of that if you want to. The idea is you put it together like you're cooking. You have your ingredients in the jar. It sits for 5 days as it's marinating and starting to, you know, develop its consistency inside the jar.
Mm-hmm.
And then you imbue your stuff, your intent, when you get to the river by, you know, speaking into it. And once that happens, you know, you release it. So
Damien loves his Ouija boards. Can you do it on a Ouija board?
How's you want on?
Hello.
And what is yeah, so what are we supposed to say into this jar, Stacey? Like, what is our
that is what you already appreciate, that you're kind of hinting that you want more of. Okay. Like I was saying before, if your car is on the side of being a little bit old, you talk about how wonderful it was that you've had this car, that you've been able to, you know, take your kids out in this car, and you've been able to do so many things and have so many adventures. This car was fantastic. I love this car. It's getting a little old, but I love this car. It is fantastic. You do that kind of thing into the jar and release it.
He's talking to his moonshine right now.
I am talking. It was so nice that my mother lied to me. I love that fake ass honey that she gave me as a kid, and I really appreciate it. But
I actually feel guilty as a mother now that I didn't read the side of it.
I think my mother needs money because she's giving me the fake ass cheap honey, and I would really like to have my own money to buy the real honey. Now
I'm so sorry the tooth fairy isn't real.
Yeah, like you kind of freaked us out with that one. So that is true. A lot of the rivers in Austin, they're attached to the chain of lakes that is all dammed. Worked Just needs to be a flowing bit of water. So
Dammed as in like a wall that stops water,
Yeah.
not dammed as in like.
yeah, I know. He's just messing. He's just Aaron. He's just asking for it.
Who am I
He is
making that?
asking for it.
Oh.
Probably Oshun. Probably
I'm
Oshun.
not pissing off. Oshun loves me, right, Stacey?
Yeah, you can tell people in Santeria have these particular spirits on their head, like you would have astrology. You're a Leo or a Aquarius or whatever. You have personalities in astrology that coincide with this thing. Santeria has the same thing with their orishas or their gods. Oshun, the goddess, the people who are her children all have a similar personality and similar traits that you can pick out in a crowd.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Rob?
Yeah, I could say that. And what keyed me off on it, Oshuns will cry on a dime.
All right.
They will.
Skip that part. What? All right. Thanks everybody for coming.
They have a gag reflex that is, hair triggered.
Hey, Stace.
Is that true? Are you being honest right now?
I'm being honest. She controls the abdomen, like the womb, the stomach, and because of that, anytime she gets upset or nervous, it's like,
Stacey.
Those are the subtle signs. I have it too, dude. I really do.
Okay.
So crying on a dime.
All right.
Crying on a dime. And
Gag reflexes.
Hair trigger gag reflex.
Okay, and
they also have a tendency whenever they're lying on the couch, they sprawl out like they're in a house of ill repute.
Like what?
They got their feet up on the couch, their knees are bent, and they're just kind of like, yeah, okay. See?
I used to love having friends, and I really appreciated them, but it might be time for some new ass friends.
How do we find out who our spirit is? How do we determine?
Well, that being said, I'm guessing with Rob because I see these traits that I have, and that's what I have. You have to actually get what's known as necklaced or ilex, and that is a ritual unto itself. And after you've received it, that's when you find out who's on your head. And for some people, it's actually quite difficult to determine because they are a subtle aspect of a particular deity.
Okay.
Which you would normally expect from, say, the god of war, isn't always natural in what you would see in somebody who has that Ogun, the god of war.
Yeah.
Because the god of war is also a hermit. He's the one that controls herbs. Everything that makes magic work is controlled through Ogun.
Mm-hmm.
And he has several different aspects or several different personality types that are far more subtle and difficult to point out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's correct.
And I'm assuming Aaron's asking if you can do this, Stacey. Can you necklace someone?
No, not yet. I have to get initiated for that.
Yeah, he's working on it. Get off his case.
I'm working on it. I have to level up. I'm one level away from that.
Yeah.
But I can't do that.
He's almost grandmaster.
Almost grandmaster.
Wow.
Well, does anybody, as we wind down, because we've got a big weekend coming up, and Rob, one of Oshun's children, has much work to get done before a Paracon. But I think also this is a great show. Keep this show, bookmark this show. Hey, Adam 2.0, bookmark this show. Have that video that Stacey created. It is awesome to go back and see exactly how you do this money jar. Maybe keep a little journal of, because you said this is slow moving, but I think, what I'm hearing too is, like you said, you do this spell and then maybe you find $20. Is there a little bit of that awareness you bring to the surface where you start, because you are appreciating something, you start to see just where you have been blessed in life. So now you're really focused on, wow, this is coming and this is happening.
Yeah. And when you ask for something specific on the paper, when that happens, it's been fulfilled.
Okay.
If you, like I said, if you're looking for a Corvette, you suddenly get the Corvette through any kind of windfall of money or a circumstance where you inherit it,
Mm-hmm.
or the next door neighbor is selling it for a son because he's got to pay for surgery or something, and you get this really nice car for almost nothing.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that will be, those opportunities will come to you.
Right.
And once that happens, you have to recognize that.
Yeah.
Once you recognize it, you have to go to the river.
I love this. Do we know what the god of war's name is?
Ogun.
Ogun.
Yeah.
Ogun.
So
Ogun.
can I talk?
Yeah.
Is anybody on the side going to do this? Better yet, if anybody on the side does a honey jar, I want you to document it. If you've already started it, I want pictures, and we will give away. What are we going to give away?
I think we should give away one of Stacey's ass shirts.
We'll give you an ass hat shirt.
Like, do this, get this amazing t-shirt to show your support for this amazing show. And honestly, Stacey, are you going to allow us to do it with you again?
I'll do it with you anytime.
So let's do this again, folks. This has been, I think, having the talks is great, but how do we actually retain it? By doing it, right? We need to be able to do this stuff on a regular basis. So I am going to do this money jar when I return from the weekend.
See how cheap she won't even do it before, right? She's like, no, I'm not sharing my money jar with nobody.
No, I have things to get done. So, but I think this would be great. And I would love, what would be great is somebody on the side or somebody's on the side that is doing this. We revisit this in a little while and have you come on the show and talk about your experience. How did you feel while you did it? What did you see in the first couple of weeks while you were doing this? Did you notice a difference? I love this. I love this whole thing.
And pay attention to the fives. 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months. These intervals of 5 are like your 222.
Okay.
This is going to be the numbers that pop up when this thing starts to kick in. 5. That's why you let it sit for 5 days, so you get that out of the way. That way, when it starts to happen in that pattern, you can recognize it as being promotion. And don't be surprised is if you 5 days after you do this at the river, there is a very intense lightning storm afterwards in 5 days. Don't be surprised. That's all I'm
Write
saying.
all this shit down, people. I want to see a book. I want to see a report. I want to see photos. I want to hear stories, and you will get your very own. You can get your own ass hat shirt.
And do Dee Dee a solid, while you're journaling this stuff or writing this stuff down. Decide or share if something Oshun or something comes to you in your dreams. Maybe this is where we really start to, because we are becoming more aware of what we're being appreciating and our gratefulness. Does that come to us? Does that come to us in our dreams as well? So let's do this. Let's help this out. Aaron's going to give a police report. He's just going to write it right up like a police report.
Yeah,
He's like, is there any kind of laws we're breaking by dumping this stuff in a river, by the way?
No.
It's all natural.
It is all natural. The biodegradable. So when you dump it, pour it, that's all biodegradable. The glass, yeah. But one of the things I did want to mention too is that Oshun will come to you in your dreams as from somebody who is the child of Oshun and talk in that person's voice and in that person's, like, I'm an Oshun. I'm a child of Oshun. If you see me in your dream, that's not me. It's Oshun talking. So pay attention to what's being said.
Oh, so Rob and Stacey are going to show up in your dreams. Now, I'm sure all the girls are going to be like,
I can't say for sure that Rob is an Oshun. I just see a lot of the traits in Rob. And I would not be shocked if that's the way it was.
Right.
But if you see me, that's for sure. It is a It is Oshun talking
Mhm.
as me in the dream.
This is a good, before you go, Stacey, are there any spirits that can help with finding missing children or?
Yes. Yemeya, the Lady of the Lake. She's the Great Mother. Making an appeal to her.
I'm laughing at the comment. Don't put funny comments up during serious talk.
Sorry.
I look like an ass.
Yeah, you make an appeal to Yemeya, and a lot of times if the child is missing and not alive, she will help find the child. If the child is still alive and being in a very dangerous situation with someone who's not a nice person, the other Orishas will come to the rescue. Justice, that sort of thing, and it gets really ugly after that. But yeah, Yemeya is the one you would appeal to if you have a missing child.
All right. Did you get that, Sam? All right. Well, I'm excited to start this project, the Money Jar. I hope you guys enjoyed the first Do It with Stacey right here on Ask Stacey Stuff. Kent saying, so speaking of dreams, I know I have paranormal researchers believe if we see someone in our dreams, their spirit is looking over us at that moment. Very much well could be. We don't know. We have many theories on the dream and the paranormal, the other side coming through.
Oh, Aaron, that wasn't for you. That was for Sarah putting it up.
Yeah, he's not yelling at you. He's yelling at
we
me.
We know there's a delay in the chat.
Yeah, there is.
You're
Absolutely.
safe, my friend. I will still visit you in your dreams tonight.
That's right. Well, Stacey, I appreciate the time you put into the video. It is very interesting. And like you said, these are items you have around your house. More than likely, they are natural. So you are giving back you're taking from Earth and giving back to Earth. So this is all done in very positive and good vibes. So I totally dig this very much. Rob, you going to do a money jar?
I'm about to.
Oh, you have all your stuff? I didn't know.
No, I don't have all my stuff, but I'm going to.
Okay.
And the reason, all right, let's just get back to, because someone asked you, and then we're done. Someone asked you if you can do this for someone else, right?
Correct. Well, you can't. No.
I did. I asked that.
Yeah, Sarah did. But like, can there be like a spillover effect, or if someone is like focusing on this and can the people around them or people that are near and dear to them feel the effect?
Well, I mean, if you're dealing like a household kind of thing.
Dude's giving it to you, Stacey.
Just end the show with that. Just leave that up.
Oh my!
I'm just saying, like, if and just
it's finesse in the wording,
Yeah.
It's because you're talking about an appreciation of all the things that are wonderful in your life. If Sarah wanted to talk about her daughters, about how wonderful it was to be a mother, and she loves her daughters.
I'm saying accidentally. I'm saying could there be reverberations throughout? Like if you were focused on a money jar, you're trying to bring wealth to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Can this accidentally spill over to people that you're connected to?
Yeah, if your employees, they start getting raises because you have more money. Yeah, that can be the spillover.
Okay, just curious.
It's essentially, where you have to be careful with the whole honey jar thing. And you're talking, like I'm saying with Sarah and her daughters, how wonderful it is to be a mother, and she's, so proud of her kids, and she wants success and all this, and hope for success for her children, things like that. Don't be surprised if they get pregnant. You're talking about motherhood, and you're talking about all this other kind of stuff.
That should be on the warning label.
More of that, more motherhood. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I feel like that was very pointed at me. Don't be surprised when your daughters get pregnant. Well,
I'm just saying you have to be. The finesse is very delicate, and where you draw the line of, what you want to draw into you. what you want to draw into your life. That would be a blowback effect.
Okay.
Sarah's now a grandma, so that would be it.
Sarah.
I'll be a good one, but
Granny Sarah.
we're just not there yet. One last question from Aaron, and then we're gonna let you go, and we're gonna let Rob go so he can go back to work. Who do you avoid?
Who do I avoid in the spirit pantheon? I don't know if I avoid anything. The closest I would say, because there's a lot of the deities in the pantheons are similar from one culture to the next. They just have a slight tweak to them.
Yeah.
I was saying before with Lilith. Lilith is, in Jewish culture, she's a demon. In other cultures, she's actually the savior of children in the night. The cultures are different, and they have the same spirit in their pantheon, but they're doing two totally different things. So you have to, Lilith is associated with the owl. She works at night. She steals children and all this other kind of stuff in Jewish culture. But in other cultures, she does the exact opposite. She brings children and fertility and pregnancy and these things. So.
Kent has this question, and I know this is a whole nother show, Kent, and Kent, you need to have Stacey on, because he is just a wealth of spiritual knowledge. And, Stacey has talked about prayers of protection, and really it is what, I guess, sort of, I always walk away from these discussions with you sort of feeling like if it works for you, if it's what sets you at ease, it's your intention you're putting out before and after investigations, there's no harm in doing them.
No. And I come at it from a practical application side, not a scary, superstitious necessarily side. Like I was saying before, I treat it as though it's code. Mm-hmm. It is elemental code that is embedded into our physical world. Mix these things together in a particular fashion. You throw a little bit of intent on top of it, and it is a very powerful application or program that you can use. What are you doing, Rob?
He's done. Do you see? This is how we know
the important speaker.
When our child is playing with his iPad over off to the side to see what's going on.
I'm trying to add some dynamic moments.
The Mason card
is... You're so goofy. All right. Well, listen, with that, this was amazing. I think people really enjoyed this, and we're going to come up with some more hands-on activity. That I think this is the important part. This is where you start to understand what Stacey is teaching us. This stuff is very practical. This stuff can be used in day to day. As if you did listen to sort of the love spell situation that we had with Stacey on one of the kind of like a few months back. What was interesting about it is, in the end, these are things that other countries utilize in every generation. They haven't stopped it, but we don't do this as much here in the United States. So I feel like you're sort of bringing back some tradition, some old school, what people truly do around the world to sort of incorporate in their everyday life.
Yeah, and at the same time, you can, once you know about it, it's like a magician. Once you've seen the trick, it catches your eye every time, and it won't fool you. And when you start seeing people do certain things, you're like, I know what you're up to.
Yeah.
And, you can nip it in the bud.
Yeah, who brings up a good point, because she's only on YouTube, she's not on Facebook. So there really was no way for her. When did the YouTube show description go out?
I created the show today. I don't normally create the shows a week in advance.
This is not a complaint, lady. Comment.
But I do agree. Sometimes I do forget that not everybody does go on Facebook, but I had gotten the information from Stacey earlier in the week, and I put it out earlier in the week.
But maybe we can build out, like, for these kind of things, like a cool little mailing list, right? Where when we do the hands-on,
Mhm.
a week in advance, they can hear about it all.
All right. Well, would you guys like to receive some sort of an email situation that
If you
gives
do.
you what you need for the next Do It with Stacey? So yeah, you need a media guy, right? No kidding, Aaron. So yeah, we will work on that, Dehu. But this would be something you wouldn't have done necessarily right during the show. I mean, again,
I did the video understanding that nobody was going to do it during the show. It was going to be after the fact in the replay that people were going to do it, watching it over again. Because it really is simple. I mean, it only requires a handful of ingredients, and most of the technical side of it happens at the very end, 5 days later anyway. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you have any questions, Dehu, you know how to find me. Absolutely. Or you can email Rob at gethaunted.com.
Oh, yeah, I'll be forwarding all my emails to Sarah.
No, well, you can. I'm Sarah at gethaunted.com. Absolutely. With that, guys, happy Thursday night. Happy money jar creating. And I wish I send you all the wishes for what it is you are looking to sort of put in for abundance. Stacey, thank you so much for your creative video. Completely and utterly enjoyed it and loved it. Thank you so much. Rob, thank you for getting those busted up. That actually worked out beautifully, didn't it? That we got them in two separate things so we could do a little talking in between. So thank you so much for that. And with that, for those of you that we will see this weekend at Pennhurst Paracon, we look forward to it. For those of you that we won't, we wish you an amazing weekend, and we will talk to you Wednesday. There will be no Paranormally Blonde this coming Monday, as I am coming home Monday. So there won't be a show. But we will talk Wednesday for sure, midweek at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And with that, don't forget 11:05 tonight, Ghost Box Radio with Mr. Greg Buchan right there on the Get Haunted main page. Thank you, Kaylee. And with that, we're going to send you off. Sweet dreams. Look for Oshun in those dreams. It might come to you as Stacey.
Or Stacey.
Yep.
Oshun. Or dress.
Stacey or Oshun. We look forward to hearing how your money jar went. So with that, have an amazing evening, and we will